सुधा प्रख्यगीतैः नित्यं रघुत्तमं योऽभ्युषिञ्चित्तमीडेऽहं त्यागराजगुरुं सदा. Namaskaram to you all. I extend a very warm welcome to you all on behalf of Kalasadan to this fifth concert in the series of Janma Shatabdi Kala Utsav dedicated to Nartanacharya Guru Shri Mani, the founder Acharya of Kalasadan. As the musicians and music lovers across the globe observed the 175th Yagaraja Aradhana on the 22nd of January 2022, we at Kalasadan dedicate today's performance to the musical and the spiritual legacy of Saint Thyagaraja. Shri Thyagaraja, as you all may know, is perhaps the most popular of the trinity of Carnatic musicians comprising of Shri Shama Shastri, Shri Muthuswami Dikshitar and Shri Thyagaraja. The compositions of Shri Thyagaraja are noted for the revelation of the different shades of bhakti, particularly Rama Bhakti. He is regarded as a reincarnation of Maharshi Valmiki. The tradition says that it was Valmiki who, under the directions of Lord Rama, had descended on this earth in the Kali Yuga to reinstall the spirit of bhakti among the mortals. Today we are indeed fortunate to have the blessed couple, Srimati Padmavathi Shri and Shri P.H.Thyagaraju, who would be giving an exclusive presentation of the musical journey of Saint Thyagaraja. It behoves me to briefly introduce today's artists. Srimati Padmavathi Shri is a leading Carnatic vocalist and music teacher based in Mumbai. She is a disciple of Sangeeta Kalanidhi, Dr. Nityanuri Krishnamurti Garu. She had her initial training in Carnatic music from her maternal grandmother and later completed her diploma under the guidance of Shri M.V. Ramamurthy and Shri P. Surya Rao in the Ghantashala Venkateshwara Rao Government Musical College of Music and Dance, Vijayawada. She has been taking workshops on Tyagaraja, Narayana Tirtha, Ramadasa, Annamacharya, etc. at the Fine Arts Society Chimbur and other prestigious organizations. She has been felicitated by the Fine Arts Society Chimbur as one of the top 5 music teachers based in Mumbai. In the year 2014, she conducted a Carnatic music symphony with her students, which was a first in the history of Carnatic music. She has conceptualized, organized, and performed the Prahlada Bhakta Vijayam of Tyagaraja as a Geya Natakam in Mumbai in the year 2017. Her spouse, Shri P.H.Thyagaraju, is a senior scientific officer at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. His passions range across a wide spectrum of subjects, beginning with science, music, poetry, mathematics, and spirituality. Although never formally trained into Carnatic music, by the virtue of his grandfather, he was exposed to the music of Tyagaraja right from his infancy, which led him to analyze the music and the emotions of Tyagaraja. He happened to present the first lecture on Tyagaraja Swami's life and music at the age of 24 and continued thereafter. He was also instrumental in bringing out 2 compilations on music and life of Sangeeta Kalanidhi, Dr. Nityanuri Krishnamurti Garu. He is presently pursuing doctoral research in the field of technology management. It is also noteworthy that he has a keen passion in learning and propagating spoken Sanskrit. We are indeed honored to have them. Over to the Tyagarajus. Thank you.
Dear friends, today let us enjoy and grasp the profundity of Tyagaraja's music. To start with, I have a request to all the listeners that let us do a few seconds of meditation. You may please close your eyes. You may pay attention to your breathing. Relax your body. Relax your mind. Gently rub your eyes. Open your eyes. Now, dear friends, to start with, let us have a look as to what was the scenario of South Indian music by the time Thyagaraja Swami came into the scene. By the time Thyagaraja Swami had entered the scene, music was reasonably rich. There were very richly composed Kshetraya Padams. Kshetraya Padams are characterized by richness in music within the composition. And there was plenty of dance music through Kuchipudi Bhagavatas, both in Tamil Nadu as well as in Andhra Pradesh. And Kuchipudi Bhagavata music was in vogue basically initially through Siddhendra Yogi. Then there were compositions of Narayan Tirtha supporting dance music. So that music was also quite rich in the sense it had both Raga Bhava as well as Laya Bhava and Tala Bhava. So now there was also Bhajana Sampradayam through Todaya Mangalam, in which long forgotten Annamacharya songs also were featured in Todaya Mangalam. And very famously there were Ramadas Kirtanas, both in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. So this is the magic. The music which was set in Andhra Pradesh also spread into Tamil Nadu. I think it spread into Karnataka and Kerala also. So, and then Purandardasa, the very famous Purandardasa's teaching techniques were all in vogue already by the time Tyagaraja was into the picture. So, in this backdrop, Tyagaraja had entered the scene. In this backdrop of the society itself, cultural society itself. Now, what about the backdrop of his own family? Because family makes the person. How the people closest to you, they influence your life. So who influenced Tyagaraja's life? To start with his mother. His mother was a daughter and granddaughter of great Vidwans. A great name, Veena Kalahastaya, comes into her family background. There was a Giriraja Kavi. There were two Giriraja Kavis, one on mother's side and one from father's side of Tyagaraja Swami. So mother's side there were great musicians, Vainikas, and there was a library for his mother's father. And father's side they were also poets, there were the great literators, and Rama Brahmam, that is Tyagaraja's father, was a great Pauranika, a scholar in both Sanskrit and Puranas. He was he was giving discourses in the king's court of various Puranas. That's how Tyagaraja came to know Ramayana right from early years of his life. So that was the background in his family itself. With such richness, he came out. He came out to do something much greater. He did something much greater means he added something more that was a little missing, and he amalgamated whatever was available, and he eventually brought out extremely wide variety of music and extremely wide variety of content in the lyrics of his music. Then the question is, how much of the output has come out? His output, though, are only 700 compositions with notation. This is the highest so far available with musical notation. Even if you take the recent findings of Annamacharya, even though 14,000 lyrics are available of Annamacharya, only 2 or 3 songs are available with the original tunes. If you take Muthuswami Dikshitar, now Muthuswami Dikshitar, his own grandson has written his name as Mudduswami Dikshitulu. Either way it is the same, it's a proper noun. In the textbook version it is Mudduswami Dikshitulu. His compositions are available with notation to an extent of 300 songs. Then Shyama Shastri's kritis are available to the extent of 40 songs. Then Patnam Subramanya Iyer's compositions are available to the extent of 60 songs. And Ramadas Kirtanas are available with traditional tunes, maybe around 25-30 songs. So if you see like this, the highest volume of music available to an extent of 700 songs is the highest. That is the lion's share of repertoire available, which is of Tyagaraja's origin or Tyagaraja's compositions. Accordingly, if you see the scenario in the stage performances, the concert performances, it's quite natural that the majority of the compositions in a concert are featured by Tyagaraja's compositions. You can expect some 3 or 4 compositions easily of one composer, that is Tyagaraja Swami, in a typical concert. Whereas the trend is we have one composition of each composer. It is not that you are actually respecting somebody more or somebody less. It is just the proportion of the volume available is also being represented on the platform. Second thing is, singing 3 or 4 songs of Tyagarajas, it does not look that we have filled the concert with Tyagaraja's composition. With the proportion available in the music world, having around 30 to 40% of Tyagaraja kritis is not unusual. It is definitely not uncalled for. Rather, it actually enriches the concert itself. The rasa of the concert flows when Tyagaraja's compositions are sung. See, not that the rasa is lesser with other compositions. Only thing is, with other composers like Dikshitar and Shyama Shastri, in those compositions also, of course, there is richness, because all the 3 are called Dhatu Kalpana Daksha. Means they were all very skilled in Dhatu Kalpana, in musical compositions. The idea is, if you take a Tyagaraja's composition, it is more palatable to most of the audience. Dikshitar's composition and Shyama Shastri's compositions need certain initiation from the part of the audience. This is the idea. So, in all, if you want to spread music far and wide, if you want to make your own music full of rasa, this kind of proportion if you keep in your concerts, and you will be remembered that you are a musician of a rasa. Now again coming back to Tyagaraja Swami. Now how many compositions he must have composed is a question. For a great man who spent all his life, right from childhood he started composing. Then he lived to an extent of 80 years. And his full-time activity was in music. He was a full-fledged professor in music. His house was like a music university. He had so many books, he had so many sishyas, and sishyas ranging from, say, high school level to post-graduation level. In the field of music, if you consider, in parlance of music. So it was almost like a mini university. A person running a mini university, how many compositions he must have done in his lifetime? You can expect thousands of them. As per certain legend, 24,000 compositions were made. But many have been lost because he did not compose for the purpose of keeping record of those. He just sang and forgot about them. Many students also forgot about them. But many students, luckily, they have kept the notation of the songs. Some students kept the lyrics. But majority were, because they were all musically highly talented, highly educated, they could keep with the notation. So that is the fortune which they have provided to us. But at least 700 are available. Even if you say 24,000 is a big number, even if you remove 10, 2,400 songs is a very, very reasonable output from a full-time music professor. But in any case, whatever had happened, 700 is a big number, but still more and more songs are coming into the into limelight now. For example, Professor Akella Mallikarjuna Sharma Garu, who is in Hyderabad, he is also a walking encyclopedia. He lives in Hyderabad. He has written a book, Tala-Prastara Sangrahamu, and he had innovated on teaching methods. So Akella Mallikarjuna Sharma Garu had, he happened to find out certain Talapatras where some new compositions were discovered. He happened to discover from this one, Saurashtra Library in Madurai, around 9 compositions. So he took those 9 compositions to Dr. Nedunuri Krishnamurti Garu. Rather, Akella Mallikarjuna Sharma Garu was one of the senior disciples of Dr. Nedunuri Krishnamurti Garu, who was a Sangeeta Kalanidhi. So he took to him. He happened to compose, those lyrics. Then one of them, let us listen. It's a song, starts with Sita Lakshmana in Athana Raga. Then prior to that, we will start with an invocatory poem. In fact, the poem has also been composed by Thyagaraja Swami. In fact, in Telugu, I think even in Kannada, poetries are composed in prosodical meters, and each meter has got a name. For example, Kanda Padyam is certain prosodical meter, Utpalamala, Champakamala, etc. You have several prosodical meters which Thyagaraja used to compose in those also. So as an example, let us listen to a Kanda Padyam of Thyagaraja.
Sri Gananatha Paratpara Vagisa Suresa Vandya Varaguna Sandra Vegame Ninugol Cheda Nanubaguga Valimpumayya Parvati Tanaya The next song is Sita Lakshmana in Athana Ragam. ತನನನ ತರನನೋ ತದರೇ लक्ष्मण सहित मानस चिंतय निज दास हित सीता 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 लक्ष्मण सहित सुरतरु कुसुम विमानो ज्योति सोम भास्कर समानो 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 सीता लक्ष्मण सहित मानस चिंतय निज दास हित सीता लक्ष्मण सहित मंगल दिव्याकारं कर निगमागम संचारो मंगल दिव्याकारं वर निगमागम संचारो मंगल दिव्याकारं वर निगमागम संचारो सीता लक्ष्मण सहित मानस चिंतय निज दास हित सीता लक्ष्मण सहित पतित पावन विराजो परिपालित त्यागराजो पतित पावन विराजो परिपालित त्यागराजो पतित पावन विराजो परिपालित त्यागराजो सीता लक्ष्मण सहित मानस
Next song which we are going to hear is Nada Sudha Rasam Bilanu Narakrit Ayara Manasa. But now, to see the background of this song, let us try to view the whole thing like this. Rama took birth in human form for a certain reason. But Valmiki had seen Rama at certain at certain perspective. He has rather raised the value of Rama to a high pedestal. Even though Valmiki knew the reason for origin of Rama into this earth. Now Thyagaraja Swami, who is latest among all the three, he also knew the reason for origin of Rama. He knew very well in what way Valmiki had seen Rama. Even having known that, Thyagaraja himself had seen Rama at still much higher pedestal. So let us have a look at this. Now, why did Rama took birth at all is a question. If you see the origin of Rama in Ramayana, you will find that there was Ravana who was troubling the people. So, and Ravana was not only troubling the people, he was undestroyable by any kind of being, like even Devatas, Yakshas, Danavas, nobody can kill him. He took a boon that any such higher living beings like Yakshas, Devatas and Danavas cannot kill him. In that listing he forgot Nara. He felt no man can kill him, so Nara cannot kill him. Nara is the weakest of all the species, he felt. So he forgot about that particular species. Then he became undestroyable. So then Vishnu had to come in the form of ordinary human being, that is Nara. But what are the qualities of that particular Nara? That is important. Those qualities are even beyond Devatas. And how Valmiki described it is very interesting. Valmiki asked Narada as to tell me about one person, one very, very ideal human being who has got a list of high qualities. So then, so he was asking him, as he was asking, you see how he was asking. Atmavan kaha. Atmavan kaha means, here kaha means in Sanskrit, who is he? Kaha. Atmavan kaha. Who is Atmavan? Jitakrodha. Basically it is Jitakrodha kaha. Dyutiman kaha. Anasuya kaha. Actually it is Anasuya kaha, or you can also use it as Anasuya kaha. Means here kaha means who is he. Then kasya bibhyati devataha means of whom even devatas are afraid. So kasya means of whom. So kasya bibhyati devataha. So it means this human being is supposed to be higher than devatas, even though he is a human, he is in human form. Even devatas are scared of him. See, when Rama was such a wonderful person, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha, he was a dharma in human form. Then why devatas have to be scared? Under one condition they are scared. That condition is Jata Roshasya. When he gets angry, then they are scared. And when he gets angry, when he is in the he's in face to face in the war. So some yuge. Here yuge means, actually coming in face to face with the enemy. In a war, in the war front, if at all he becomes very angry, then even devatas, they get scared of Rama. Who is that human being? He was asking. It's a human being. but he scares Devatas also. Only such a man can actually kill Ravana. And why he should kill Ravana? Because Ravanaha, Loka Ravanaha. Ravanaha means that particular man Ravana. Loka Ravanaha means he makes cry all the people in the world. So Loka Ravanaha means that is the meaning. He makes cry all the people out of arrogance. It's not that they were his enemies. Out of arrogance he used to make people cry. And that arrogance is born out of his all-powerfulness, that nobody can kill him except human being. So this is what the question asked by Valmiki to Narada, because Valmiki wanted to write the story of such a great man. Then he asked him, you tell me who is that great man. So Valmiki started, and then Narada started answering. He says, Ikshvaku Vamsha Prabhavaha. He is born in Ikshvaku Vamsha. Ramo Nama Janaihi Shrutaha. Ramo Nama means the name is Ramaha. He is known by people by the name Rama. Means Janaihi Shrutaha means known by all the people in the world. So Janaihi Shrutaha means all the people heard him with the name Ramaha. And where he was born? Ikshvaku Vamsha Prabhavaha. Now here you should understand, here very, very interesting point which we can note is, here Valmiki has applied the principles of object-oriented thought process. See, many of you who are into computer languages, they might know object-oriented programming. In fact, object-oriented programming is based on object-oriented thought process. For object-oriented thought process, you need not know any computer. It's only thought process. There need not be a computer for that thought process. So here object-oriented thought process means you have an object. Now here Rama is an object. Every object has to have a name. A name label has to be there. So that's why specifically Valmiki has used Ramaha Nama. And it is known to all people. Means this is not a local variable, it's a global variable. See, in programming, if a certain object is used by a small part of the program, local part of the program, it's called local variable. If it is known to the complete program, it is called global variable. So Janaihi Shrutaha, when he said, that means known to all people. So Rama is a global variable here. So a global variable should be there. It means a variable should be there. We should specify whether it is local or global. After specifying that it is global, then you should know the origin, at which memory location he is there. So that is the origin. So Ikshvaku Vamsha Prabhavaha he wrote. He did not say Ikshvaku Vamsha Tilakaha. He used the word Prabhavaha because Prabhavaha indicates that is the source. So now the source is known, name is known, that name is known to the whole world. Now the next question in object-oriented thought process comes, the qualities or the functions or the actions, all these things put together. See, because actions come by qualities. He has given list of qualities. He says, means he says here one quality is Niyatatma, then Mahaviryaha, Dyutiman, Dhrutiman, Vashi. And these qualities don't stop here. For some next around 10 slokas, the qualities list goes on. These are the qualities of Rama. A Nara means a human being with so many great qualities that Ravana cannot stand. Now here one important thing. Here he says Niyatatma. This Niyatatma is told by Narada. Because Valmiki has asked, who is Atmavan? Atmavan kaha? Atmavan means a human being who is conscious of his own Atma is Atmavan. A human being who knows that he is actually product of his Atma. So Atmavan kaha, when he answered, so automatically Narada also has to answer. He is Niyat Atma. He knows that he has got Atma. He also knows how to control it as well as control himself. So Niyat Atma, Mahaviryaha. He does not waste his energies. That's the thing. Dhyutiman means he's shining. Dhrutiman means he can take responsibility. Vashi, he can take situation in control. All these are the qualities of Rama. Now, this is the way how Narada and Valmiki had seen Rama like. Now, how Tyagaraja has seen is the next step. What he says is, Vedagama, Shastra Puranadi, or Shastra Puranadulaku Adharamaina. The one who is the basis for Vedagama Shastra Puranadulaku. Means here Veda means it is both Vedic practices as well as Vedanta. Means spirituality. Vedanta is spirituality. Then Veda and Vedanta means the process of attaining spirituality and the result of attaining spirituality. Both for that knowledge base, Adhara is Nada. Then it is Vedagama, it is Agama is again processes. Agama. Shastra means sciences. For all this knowledge base, whatever is the basis, he says that basis is Nada. Now, Nada is important. Nada means what? How do you translate Nada? The rough translation is sound. The sound is Nada. Now, sound, this sound is an English word. The origin of that English word in European land, the philosophy of European land will give you the meaning of sound. But Nada, it came out of the philosophy of Indian land. So here, sound is not exact translation for Nada. Then what is sound and what is Nada? See, sound is sound, whatever has been defined in English. But Nada is nothing but sound enveloped with divinity. The sound enveloped with divinity is Nada. Sound enveloped with divinity is the root cause of all the high knowledge base available in this country. Now that Nada is compared with Rama. He says Nada itself has come in the form of Rama. See, while Valmiki says Rama came in the form of a powerful human being, now Tyagaraja gave a status a little higher than that. He says Nada itself came in the form of human being. That is the content in this song. Then he compares various parameters of Rama with various kinds of music. For example, in Charanam it comes, it is Swaramul Arunnokka Gantalu. See, when Rama is nothing but embodiment of Nada, his bow, his Kodanda also has got many attributes of music. So the 7 bells are like 7 swaras in music. So Swaramul Arunnokka Gantalu. Then he says 3 varieties of ragas. Dura, Naya, Deshya. 3 varieties of ragas are like 3 ways he speaks. See, a king has to speak at certain times in Dura manner, in a little faster, harsher manner. Because he is a leader, he has to speak in different ways, in different contexts. Certain times he has to speak in a very soft manner. So that is Naya. Certain times he has to speak with the local language. When he was interacting with agriculturists, Rama, at that time you can't expect him to speak very higher standard language. With agriculturists, with shopkeepers, when he interacted, he spoke their language. That is Deshya. So Deshya Bhasha he spoke. So varieties of languages he spoke. So varieties of ragas are there depending upon the contexts. So in the same way, different ways of speaking which Rama the king used to implement when he moved around the world. So like this he compared the parameters of music with parameters of Rama. Let us listen to this song.
సుధా రసం బిలను నాద 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 సుధా రసం బిలను నరకృతాయర మనస 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 నాద సుధా రసం బిలను వేదాగమ శాస్త్ర వేదాగమ శాస్త్ర పురాణ వేదాగమ శాస్త్ర పురాణ వేదాగమ శాస్త్ర పురాణ వేదాగమ శాస్త్ర పురాణ నాదుల కాధార మైనా 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 నాద సుధా రసం బిలను నరకృతాయర మనస నాద సుధా రసం బిలను స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు వరరగము కోదండము స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు వరరగము కోదండము దూరనయ దేయస్యము త్రిగుణము నిరతగతి శరమురా స్వరములారున్నొక గంటలు వరరగము కోదండము దూరనయ దేయస్యము త్రిగుణము నిరతగతి శరమురా సరస సంగతి సందర్భము గల గిరములు సరస సరస సంగతి
Dear friends, while listening to the song, something occurred to me. Like Dhara Bhajane Bhagyamura, when he said, Tyagaraja Swami, Bhajana. I thought actually what I missed I wanted to cover now. Bhajana means something dividing ourselves from the mundane world and then leaning towards the divinity. This is called bhajana. See, when Rama is basically a form of nada. So Rama himself is nada. When you are singing about Rama, then through nada we have to come out of the mundane things or mundane world and then lean towards the divinity. This is what Tyagaraja Swami must have been meaning when he says Dhara Bhajane Bhagyamu. If we can really do that, that is the real Bhagyamu, that's the real fortune, he says. Now here, of course, the song is very profound. It is impossible to cover each aspect of the song in a lecture of this kind, where flow is important and time is also important. So the lecture cannot be exhaustive. This is the disclaimer I want to give. So some of you who must be taking notes, you may kindly note that I'm not covering the whole thing in an exhaustive way. If you need exhaustive notes, of course, it can be made available. If you contact the organizers and through them if you take my email, then maybe in an exhaustive manner every line can be explained in a better way. So here I may be jumping a few things because in a natural flow it's always means we always expect some gaps. So with this disclaimer, so let us continue. The next song is from Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam. Actually, magnum opus of Yagaraja is in his Yakshaganas. He is said to have composed 3 Yakshaganas. That is Prahlada Bhakti Vijayamu, Nauka Charitamu, and Sitarama. It is the Sitarama Kalyanamu. Actually, Sitarama Kalyanamu is not available in a book form, but it is distributed in various songs. If you combine all those songs, maybe it can form into a Yakshaganam, but such an exercise was not done, or it may not be recommended, because what actually Tyagaraja had included the songs we don't know. So we should be satisfied with whatever songs we got. For example, Sita Lakshmana, which we heard in Athana previously, that is also expected to be in that Yakshagana. We are going to listen to 1 or 2 more songs from Yakshaganas. In fact, Yakshaganas of Tyagaraja are also called Sangeeta Rupakas. So now again, coming back to Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam. There are only 2 very, very important points I want to tell, and then we will switch over to listening to the song. In Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam, you will see the Vishwarupam of Tyagaraja as a composer. He had covered almost all genres of Carnatic music, all varieties of poems, all varieties of components of Yakshagana. Now, components of Yakshagana means what? You may have a Dandakam, you may have a Churnika, you may have a Vachanam. So, all varieties of Yakshaganam, depending upon the context, they choose the certain kind of prosodical structure. So, all varieties you can find, and also the narration, the communication between 2 people, and the conversations are all beautifully depicted in such dance dramas. So that is the greatness of Tyagaraja as a composer, you can see in that. And the striking point which I liked in Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam is, in the preface of that Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam, he writes, unless you are joyful, you cannot be creative. So Tyagaraja was joyful. Unlike what is depicted in some movies, that Tyagaraja was a very sorrow-looking bhakta. No, he was not sorrow-looking bhakta. A sorrowful man cannot give such great creativity. He was a man of joy. There was no need for him to feel sad, because he was not behind money. He had something to eat every day easily, without straining himself, even his mind. He did not have to take tension for his food. He performed the marriage of his daughter with an easy support of his students. There was no worry for him. He actually led worryless life, joyful life. With that joy, he created such joyful musical compositions. This I was actually behind my mind. I used to think how he was joyful, and he spelt out in Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam that joyfulness is a must for being very creative. That's a very interesting thing in that work which he has written. So let us listen to one composition from Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam in Hussaini Ragam. Here in this song, he invites Pakshi Raja, that is the bird, the king, the bird king, you can say, because Prahlada was tied with the snakes by his father and he was put into Samudra. So Samudra Raja requests the bird, because bird can easily pick up and break this snake tethering. So he requested Vinata Sutta, that means the Pakshi. So that invitation is this song.
Vinata Sutta Rara Na Vinuti Gai Kona Vinata Sutta Rara Na Vinuti Gai Kona Vinata Sutta
Friends, I want to share with you some work done by Dr. Manchala Jagannatha Rao Garu. What he has done is, he has collected all 700 compositions of Tyagaraja and printed out in notation. He did this exercise with Kshetraya. He did this exercise with Annamacharya. Not only he printed out all these many volumes of books, he made a list of the ragas used by Tyagaraja Swami. Then Out of that list, he has picked up the ragas which were already available prior to Thyagaraja, used by Kshetraya and other composers, as well as contemporaries of Thyagaraja. Then whatever are remaining, you can assume that these were the creations of Thyagaraja. Even among those ragas which were available priorly, even those ragas were not very much used by other composers. That means he picked up a rare raga from the available repertoire of Carnatic music and he gave a shape. So this is the way many rare ragas got a shape through Thyagaraja. Apart from that, he composed many new ragas. Those amount to some 50 ragas. Now perhaps 50 is the highest in the recent history of Carnatic music, that one composer creating 50 ragas. There were great people who started new ragas. For example, Muttai Bhagavatar also must have created a few ragas. Then Patnam Subramanya Iyer created Kadana Kutuhala Ragam. Then Dr. Balamurali Krishna Garu created a good number of ragas. Even if you take this listing as to who were the raga creators, even I don't think 50 is a number which anyone reached insofar as creating new ragas is concerned. So that is another profound point of Thyagaraja Swami. One such raga is Narayana Gauda, a rare raga you can say, but the specialty of that raga, Padma herself will talk about it and sing the song. Thank you.
Narayana Gauda, it is derived from 28th Melakarta, Harikamboji. This is Ubhaya Vakra Ragam. But here in the Charanam, he used Magarisa, a pure Avarohana Kramam. That is the only ones he used there. So that shows that is the important Vishesha Sancharam of that Ragam. Otherwise, it is something like Magarikasa, then Panidanisa, it goes in this way, the whole Skriti. But where in the Charanam, only once it is Magarisa. I'll sing that time, so you can understand. This is one of the Gaula Panchaka ragas. It starts with Madhyamam. So Madhyamam is the Jivaswaram of this ragam. Kadale vadu kade, kadale vadu kade, kadale vadu kade ramudu, 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 kadale vadu ramudu, kadale vadu kade ramudu, kadale vadu kade ramudu, kadale vadu kade ramudu, kadalilno galvade ramudu, kadalilno galvade ramudu, kadale vadu kade ramudu, kadalilno galvade ramudu, kadale vadu kade. కల్పనలెన్నడులేడు 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 సంకల్పములే గలవాడు సంకల్పములే గలవాడు శేష తల్పశయనుడే వాడు శేష వాడు శేష తల్పశయనుడే వాడు శేష తల్పశయనుడే వాడు శ్రీ త్యాగరాజ నుతుడై నాడే కదలే వాడు కడే శ్రీ త్యాగరాజ నుతుడై నాడే కదలే వాడు కడే రాముడు కదలెల్నో గలవాడే రాముడు కదలెల్నో గలవాడే రాముడు కదలే వాడు కడే రాముడు కదలెల్నో గలవాడే రాముడు కదలే వాడు కడే
So, dear friends, if we have to mention in fewest words what is the contribution of Thyagaraja Swami, then it comes out to be Sangati. Sangati has been the major contribution of Thyagaraja Swami among all the composers. Now, Sangati means what? Samyak Gatihi iti Sangatihi. It's a Sanskrit word. How you take across the music, how you take along with the words, how you take music ahead, that is Sangati. So, Thyagaraja Swami had demonstrated how you can take a lyrical piece and then how you can show variations in the music. The way variations can be created, that is Sangati. So, he not only introduced this concept, he gave multiple examples how Sangatis can be created. Now, we are used to Sangati so much that you may be surprised. Without Sangati, can there be any song? If you closely observe, for example, you take Mamava Pattabhirama of Dikshitar in Manirangu. That goes in a certain pattern. You have to sing top to bottom in certain way. If you want to repeat, you have to again repeat from the beginning. So, it is well structured. It does not allow for your own Sangatis. When the structure does not allow us for Sangatis, it is not any way inferior to any other composition. No. Mamava Pattabhirama has got some other plus point. It has got such a plus point that the whole essence of Manirangu comes out in one pattern of that song. That is the greatness of Mamava Pattabhirama. So, it is one specialty. The other specialty is allowing, or composing in such a way that it allows a musician to create new sangatis. That's another quality. That is what is introduced by Thyagaraja Swami. Now, if you take in Manirangu itself, if you take Rani Di Radu, you will find many sangatis. Certain sangatis Thyagaraja Swami himself added, and he left lot of space open for the musicians to add sangatis. This is the speciality. Now, as an example for this is Kshirosagar Shayana in Devagandhari. Let us see how the sangatis flow one after the other in a very interesting manner.
Kshirosagar Shayana Nanu Kshirosagar Sayana
ಕ್ಷೀರ ಸಾಗರ ಸಯನ ನಾರಿ
Now let us listen to a Dandakam. As we have seen a few minutes back, Tyagaraja's Yakshaganas, especially Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam, in that we have seen that there are varieties of prosodical structures. We will see as an example Dandakam. Here, how to appreciate Dandakam, I would like to share something with you. There are certain groups of words, you can say syllables. These have certain structure. Suppose Ramudu, you say. So Ra is a long syllable, Mu, Du are short syllables. So one long, two short is one group of words. It's called Gana. So that group is called Bhagana. Now there can be two long syllables and one short syllable. Like Shri Anja, Neyampra, San Anja, like this. So long, short. Only with this group of long, short syllable, whole song is made. Only with one kind of syllables. This is the magic. Only one kind. But the whole thing will come out in a meaningful way. That is the specialty of Dandakam. So when Tyagaraja composed a Dandakam, he would not have specified how it has to be sung. That is left to the musician. So how that particular Dandakam had to be sung, that is Mrs. Padma made on her own way. So as an example, let us listen to that.
This is tuned in Shahana Ragam. This actually, my Guruji made 1-2 lines in and it was changed a little. Then later, but I have taken the original structure from Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam and I continued the same tune, whatever Guruji has done it. Shri Bhakta Hruttapa Gadandhakara Yutarka Prabhakara Divyambu Netrotsavam Bonu Nirupu Chupintu Rama Prabho Nivane Kanda Kotlan Vidhindradi Devasura Sukshmam Bulan Nibu Putinchi Kapadi Nashtambu Seyan Sada Mudu Rupambulan Dalchi Lokesudai Vishnuvai Rudrudai Chala Leela Vinodambulan Cheyamartul Sada Shanmatam Baina Kupambulo Putti Kamadi Shadvarga Kruchambulan Salpi Garvachalam Rudhulai Mudhulai Chala Darar Bhagagara Kopandulo Kobulan Juchu Punguchu Kukshipurambu Seyangaleke Pudum Dukhavarasilo Magnulo Varu Sri Ramunincheru Narajamargambulan Swapnamandena Sadyupa Leraya Nenam Minanaya Ravaya Nayukka Bhagyambu Nivalchununnano Shri Thyagarajarchita Khandala Jashta Dikpala Samsevya Mapahi Mapahi Mapahi.
Now we have almost come to an end. Now let us listen to a composition which is in which Ramayana is depicted till Sita Kalyanam. right from the birth time, from the very young years of Rama till his marriage with Sita. In each charanam, each aspect is shown. Here, what is important, it is not just a storyline. Here, what Yagaraja is visualizing is, he is visualizing the things happening in front of his eyes. For him, everything is real. Rama was real, Kausalya was real, Dasharatha. It is not. See, those were not even historical figures for him. Those were the real figures available in front of him. With that feeling, he composed this song. So, what he says is, actually, when Rama was born, he knew that he was just a human being. Kausalya also knew that he was a human being. Dasharatha also knew that he was a human being. But after 7,000 years, now Tyagaraja knows he was not a human being. He is pakka. He knows that he was a divine human being. So what a great fortune those people around him had to interact with him. That he depicted in this song. It is Sri Rama Jaya Rama in Yadukula Kambhoji Ragam.
Sri Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Shrungara Ramayani, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Shrungara Ramayani, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Shrungara Ramayani, Chintin Paradevo, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Shrungara Ramayani, Chintin Paradevo Manasa. తలుపుచే కులముతో పెట్ట కౌసల్య, తలుపుచే కులముతో పెట్ట కౌసల్య, తలుపుచే కులముతో పెట్ట కౌసల్య, మును తపమేమి చేసెనో, కౌసల్య తపమేమి చేసెనో తెలియ. దశరథుడు శ్రీరామ, దశరథుడు శ్రీరామ నారాయణి పిలువ, దశరథుడు శ్రీరామ నారాయణి పిలువ, దశరథుడు శ్రీరామ నారాయణి పిలువ, దశరథుడు శ్రీరామ నారాయణి పిలువ, తపమేమి చేసెనో, దశరథుడు తపమేమి చేసెనో తెలియ. తనివార పరిచర్య సేయ సౌమిత్రి, తనివార పరిచర్య సేయ సౌమిత్రి, తనివార పరిచర్య సేయ సౌమిత్రి, మును తపమేమి చేసెనో, సౌమిత్రి చూసి యుపాంగ కౌశికుడు తపమేమి చేసెనో కౌశికుడు తపమేమి చేసెనో తెలియ తన తనయనో సగి కనులారగన జనగుండు 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 తపమేమి చేసెనో జనగుండు తపమేమి చేసెనో తెలియ దహరంబు కరుగ కరమును బట్ట జానకి 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 తపమేమి చేసెనో జానకి తపమేమి చేసెనో తెలియ త్యాగరాజా ప్రియని త్యాగరాజా ప్రియని పొగడ నారదముని త్యాగరాజా ప్రియని పొగడ నారదముని త్యాగరాజా ప్రియని పొగడ నారదముని త్యాగరాజా ప్రియని పొగడ నారదముని తపమేమి చేసెనో ఆ మౌని తపమేమి చేసెనో తెలియ శ్రీరామ జయ రామ శృంగార రామయని శ్రీరామ జయ రామ శృంగార రామయని చింతింప రాదేవో మనస చింతింప రాదేవో మనస చింతింప రాదేవో మనస
Dear friends, we have seen in the beginning of the presentation the background into which Tyagaraja entered the scene. We have seen variety of compositions. Particularly, we have focused a little more on his Prahlada Bhakti Vijayam, and on listening to all these examples, we find that what is Tyagaraja's music when you ask? Most of his compositions are relatively small. These are small capsules, easily palatable, packed with very profound lyrics, very creative musical structures, rasa-based raga filled into each of those compositions, and in all with good rhythmic structures in those compositions. These are very enjoyable compositions. Standing 200 years apart from him, today we will find that these are so much excellent for presentation in the concerts and spreading the profound Carnatic music through his songs into thousands of audiences. So this is the observation. Then, so we shall rejoice with the final song, that is Mangalam.
అతి మృదుతర సత్యభాషణునికి అతి మృదుతర సత్యభాషణునికి అతి మృదుతర సత్యభాషణునికి అతి మృదుతర సత్యభాషణునికి అఖిలాండనాదునికి సీత అఖిలాండనాదునికి సీత పతికి హరతే రే సీత పతికి హరతే రాజవిభాకర రాజధరా మర రాజసుఖజ విరాజులు చూడ రాజవిభాకర రాజధరా మర రాజసుఖజ విరాజులు చూడ రాజమానమకు కాజులు కల్లనా రాజమానమకు కాజులు కల్లనా రాజత్యాగరాజ రుదునికి రాజత్యాగరాజ నుదునికి పతికి హరతే రే సీత పతికి హరతే రే సీత పతికి హరతే I would like to thank my colleagues Aditya Rajagopalan and on violin Satish Seshadri. So both are actually accompanied me right from the beginning. Very cooperative and very soulful performances with them. Thank you.